Okay, so this is my third beta video. This is of my favourite class, the Hunter. I think it's quite obvious. As I say, this is my favourite class of the beta. I'm not sure why. It might just be because I like archer builds. That's something that's kind of stuck with me through most games. And yes, I am partially stripping my character down. And apparently the first thing I'm going to do, because I don't actually like the nipple shield that much, so first thing I did when I actually came into this is to go and buy a target shield, because it's suited for parrying and it's pretty light, plus it suits the build a bit more than the kite shield. So yeah, I spent 1,000 souls to get that straight off the bat, and it obviously means that I actually could level up less with this, but it's not really that much. Now, as I said, this was my favourite class, and it's the one that I've probably played with the most, so it's probably going to have this one will be a little bit longer. Let me see, yeah, leveling up. So I believe, if I remember rightly, I did some dexterity and some agility and a bit of health. That's basically going to be the sort of stat spread I'm going to be doing throughout the whole thing. Now, one of the small annoyances that I had with the beta, specifically the beta with this character, and that is basically down to the fact... Oh, and I also discovered you can kill them guys for extra souls, but one of the things that actually annoyed me quite a bit with the Hunter was that despite it being an actual dexterity build, as far as I know, there's no actual dexterity swords in the beta. You know, so there's nothing like scimitars or katanas, etc. So yeah, I'm going to be sticking with the short sword through pretty much most of the thing. I will switch weapons at one point. I know I'll talk about it more then, but yeah. Okay, so as you see, I was doing some parrying. That's generally still hit and miss at the minute for me. I mean, I can't parry consistently like I can in Dark Souls, because reasonably, for PvE at least, I can reasonably consistently parry. Now, another thing, yet again, just like the sorcerer, the small issue I brought up with the sorcerer is, yet again, I think that the bow is a little bit short range as far as the lock on, and as you can see, I'm failing to parry, and I'm just using. Now, the actual short sword itself, I do actually kind of like the moveset, because the R2s for it are like thrusting. What is it? Yes, I was just... this is me testing the parry animation to see if there's any significant difference, which there isn't, so I stick with the buckler. Or is that the target shield? I can't remember. I think it's the target shield, but yeah, as you know, in Dark Souls, the R2 animation is a thrust, and then like it goes from a thrust into like a uppercut style thing. In this, it's just a thrust and then another thrust after it. Oh yeah, and we're going to see a bit of drawn moving archery. Something I am actually looking forward to actually seeing. I'm hoping that high level build with high agility will actually be able to move around with a reasonable amount of speed while with the bow drawn. One of the things I'm still getting used to though is in Dark Souls 2, you actually use the left. Basically, you use the left trigger to draw and fire the bow, and the right trigger to aim. And you'll see a couple of times when I'm playing this with when I'm using the bow, is basically what I'll do is I'll zoom in, I'll line up my shot, and then suddenly I'll go out of the aim mode. And basically, that's just my my Dark Souls experience kicking in, where you know you would naturally use the the R1 button to shoot. And let me see. Yeah, obviously, I've used all my Estus flasks because I know the bonfire's just around the corner. See. Yes, there's a shiny there, and you'll see in a bit. I'll actually try and get them shinies, but that's neither here or now at the minute. So yeah. Oh, let me see. This is kind of, I'm not going to say difficult, but by the fact that obviously I've already spoke for like 2 videos now, it's what's left to talk about is hit and miss. There's less to talk about at the minute that I can think of, other than commentating on what I'm actually doing on the screen. And yeah, not exactly a blind parry, but because thanks to his move being pretty much consistent there. What am I doing? I'm trying to work. Am I trying to work out if I can get to that or not? Because yeah, so I've seen it. I'd seen it a couple of times. Yep, I'm gonna go for it. No, I'm not. Oh, and that was something actually I will. That is something that they did change. And it's actually optional, is the jump button. Basically, they've moved the default. Yep, epic fail. But yeah, what they've done is they've moved the default jump button from the circle button to the L3 button, which is basically where you push in the left stick. It's an improvement, I would say. I mean, you no more are you likely to be trying to do sprint into rolls and accidentally jump. And here I am. I'm in zombie mode now. I'm not sure because I think I do die a couple of times trying to get that shiny. And yes, since I've already more or less got the parry timing down for him, you see, I'm just wondering if at low levels, yeah. In hindsight, that's going to be something I might have to try, because as you can see, I can't climb up there. But I wonder if once you're up there, whether you can roll or jump onto there. But yeah, this was me experimenting, and naturally this was a new area for me at the time. So as you can see, I'm not exactly rushing through. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I die a couple of times, so I'm wondering if we'll get to see some of the hollow deterioration going on, because obviously anyone who's been keeping up, when you turn hollow, of course you lose a bit of life, a bit of your maximum HP drops, and it steadily gets worse. And apparently the actual character model textures are, you're going to look more like a, zombie-ish character the more you thing. And yeah, this is probably one of the reasons I like archer builds actually. It's just that you can cheese enemies by doing things like this. And that's weird. Now that I think about it, I mean, you couldn't... I mean, multiplayer itself was pretty much broken and not working, so... But you could still see messages. So it wasn't a complete failure. Oh, and as a random observation, I'm pretty sure by looking at my stamina bar, it does appear that drawing a bow... Ah! That's interesting. I've only just realised that. The lock-on indicator seems to change colour depending on if you've got a direct line of sight. I mean, look, it's kind of dark now and I'm just doing nothing but hitting the floor and such. But you'll see in a minute, it'll go like a more bright white colour. And I'm wasting arrows. See, it's a bright white colour now that I can hit it. So I'm hitting them, and then let's see if he... And then, yeah, there you go. It turns dark when you can't hit a target. That could be an extremely useful feature, especially when shooting in pitch black like I'm doing at the minute. But yeah, I'm hopefully optimistic that come Dark Souls 2, that you know, full archer builds are going to be, shall we say, more viable in PvP, because that'd just be interesting. I mean, it would be interesting, especially, and I'm not sure if I've actually caught this on video yet, but that is one of the traps. And as anyone, if you've been paying attention, you should also know that agility increases the likelihood of being able to disarm a trap. And at the minute, I'm just yet again playing with my equipment again. I have a tendency to play around with equipment because I am one of those players where aesthetics tends to override actual practicality. And as a random observation that's pretty much useless, is that I'm pretty sure that the male and female walking animations are different. As I say, useless, but that's just one of the sort of things that I notice. And yeah, it's dark. I should mention that. If I remember rightly, I did actually increase the brightness right up for the purpose of recording, because, you know, it's no fun recording while it's pitch black. And you get a look at the... Oh, that's interesting. The arrow's stuck in my shield. Well... let me see what the hell is going on here. Well, I mean, obviously what's going on. When they were saying that they was improving the AI, I was hoping for a little bit better than this. I mean, because, let's be honest, turning around and pretty much giving you a backstab isn't exactly smart. So, yeah, okay, so we're following the basic and yes, I've just failed to parry and took a pretty bad combo for it, and then I've managed to parry, and you know, I kind of feel like a noob the way I'm playing at the minute. Although I would not toot my own horn, but I think I'm still playing slightly better than several of the other beta videos that came out from the Japanese players. I mean, some of them were pretty bad. But there you go. Not everyone who managed to actually get in on the Dark Souls 2 beta was brilliant at the game. And there's my 12 strength for the sword that I didn't actually end up using ever, as I actually got that in consideration of being able to use the long sword, because that's just, the long sword's one of my favourite weapons from Dark Souls, and I was curious on whether it was as good as it was. Well, why am I talking about curious? I'd already used it. I was considering using it again in this, but say for whatever reason I didn't end up buying it or picking it up or anything. Yeah, as I say, I'm not entirely sure how many times I'm going to die jumping for that. So it's only going to be 1 or 2 more times. Because, yeah, I decided that since it was right next to the bonfire and I didn't really have... Let's say it's next to the bonfire and it's not like I had... You've got, well, it's not like there's any humanity to mess around with. Or more accurately, there's not really enough detrimental effects to worry about dying over and over again right next to the bonfire. But there you go. This is just the sort of things that I would probably actually do if I was playing it. And it's probably going to be the sort of things I will do when I play it in March. And as for the actual when the game's actually released, I'm probably going to upload my first playthrough. Hopefully. Okay, that's unusual. But yeah, I'll probably upload my blind playthrough. And yeah, I'm starting to get pretty consistent at being able to parry that guy. I'm trying to just get a look at the corpse there. And I think I might actually get some progress in a minute. Nice if I don't jump off. No, yeah, more agility. So yeah, as I say, I think most of it was gonna most of my level ups for this were into agility and into dexterity, which, as I just said, small annoyance of the relatively complete lack of dexterity swords, which what am I doing? I'm not actually looking through. I'm actually going to pause it here for a second and discuss some of the what looks like some of the weapon categories. So as we can see, we've got what looks like daggers, and what is that? Dagger. Obviously, say I'll actually thingy this. Some sort of straight sword, but it doesn't appear. But the hilt appears to be sort of different from a regular straight sword, which is obviously the next weapon. And then what looks to be some sort of curved So I wonder if they're going to be scimitars and such. Then obviously we have great swords. Let me see. Then after the great swords, this is the interesting one, is you've got this, what looks to be some sort of double-ended polearm. So, which, if any of you remember back to one of the E3 demos, you actually see some enemies using weapons like this. And then, obviously, next is a rapier. Then, some sort of battle axe. Let me see, battle axe. Then, hammers, spears, clubs, whips. I mean, they're all pretty much, you know, they're all pretty much, standard. And then you've got just goes into bows and such. So, yeah. It looks like there's going to be an interesting, variety of weapons. I'm just wondering what that weapon class between daggers and straight swords are. Oh, and yet again, here we are. Trying pointlessly again to invade somebody. Hopefully I'll actually be able to do that. Let me see. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm just looking at the character model. I think in a minute I'm going to probably... I know at one point I might actually stand up against the wall to actually look at the skin textures for some reason. Yeah, there we go. That was the double thrusting attack that I was talking about. Say basic. Combat. Now, I think I've mentioned it before. Say this is going to be what, in a sec I believe this will be another, firstly we have a good example of, what I think is, the enemy AI reacting to the weapon that you're currently using. But what you're going to see now is yet again what I think is another perfect example of where I actually feel that, you know, agility and rolling is seems to be a better defense than, yeah, medium and heavy armor with resistance. As I say, that might change in the main game, but I mean, as you can see, I'm basically dancing around this guy without any real issues. Now, I'm pretty sure I do take a hit with this build, but as I say, I've basically just killed the guy without taking a single hit, and well, the overall HP loss is a lot lower. It's I think it's something that's to be balanced. And there I was, just I looking towards the Zweihander. Obviously I'm not going to pick it up with this character. So, but yeah, I would, one of the things, if nothing else, I would like to see them change for the Dark Souls 1, for the Dark Souls 2 game, over the beta, is changing heavier armor to give it slightly better defense stats. Now, yeah, again, once the game comes, and oh, by the way, these are failed backstabs, by the way, where you see my character hitting them with the sword hilt. Oh, there, yeah, there we are. There we are. We're just looking at the face texture. But as I say, oh, and now I'm going to start playing with thingies again. Because, yeah. For anyone, I ended up actually using that one, not the other that one. Let me say the main reason is it's got some cloth physics on it, because that's yeah, I chose a bit armor piece because it had cloth physics on it. But yeah, as I was saying, I say yet again, it's something that we can't completely tell from the beta because there was no armor upgrading. But yeah, as I say, one of the things I would like to see is that medium and heavy armor gets a boost to defense. So you know, actually getting hit with them while wearing them is a more viable playstyle. Is more viable than it was in the beta. Now, I think as I've covered it, let's say it's hard to actually tell realistically. Here we are. It's hard to tell realistically the real difference though at the minute, or any real benefits, because you know, as I say, you can't upgrade your armor, and my Fat Rolling Zweihander build that I was using doesn't have any it doesn't have significant resistance. Let's say, because we haven't, obviously, it being a time beta, they didn't really put any effort into farming souls, which, as I say, is something I would do in the actual game. I would be farming, and I would be definitely boosting the amount of, you know. So, come actual game when you can farm and you can upgrade, yeah, heavy army might be completely different from, well, the experience might be completely different from the beta. And I've just picked up another weapon. This, I can't remember if it's right now that I'll be using this for a bit. Now, yeah, it appears that it has a slightly has a better strength scaling style. That's interesting, but you know, oh wait a sec. Oh yeah, I'm just skipping through stats at the minute. So my computer was just acting up. So yeah, it actually gives you some more information, things like actual poise damage and such. So you actually know how much you can knock players off their guard. Now I actually ended up choosing this because partially for a little more reason than to test it out. As you can see, I'm playing with the movesets. Now, the moveset itself, it's a little bit more fancy, shall we say. It also, as I found out, it's a little bit, some of the attacks feel a little bit slower. As for whether it's a good weapon, whether it's a good weapon moveset, I'm still a bit, I would probably need time on, yeah, again, more time to play with it. And, you know, just say, just your standard, like, build thing in. Yes, I'm probably, trying to fish for backstabs just there. There we go. Yeah, obviously I'm fishing for backstabs. Because they're still effective in PvE. And yeah, it would be nice to see them actually lower the potency of backstabs, or at least make them harder to hit again, as I still think they're a little bit easy to actually land. And I'm playing again. Let me see. But yeah, this is, as you can see, I picked up a new bit of equipment and I'm instantly looking what it looks like on the character. And yeah, again for a second there, I'm tempted to go with it. Because, you know, again, I can't use them gauntlets because they require too much strength. That's gonna be, as I say, I think it's gonna be a good thing, I think, the strength requirements on armor. It's going to, discourage poise stacking with dex weapons for a start. I mean, we've all faced, full Havels with Gold Tracer. And I think, as I say, part of the, them putting strength requirements in is to, make that slightly less viable. Another thing that I really do think that they've incorporated it for is, just like why they've removed pretty much almost all non-scaling methods of damage and such, is, as I say, is because I think they're trying to stop people from griefing so much. Because naturally, if you put strength requirements on, if you put requirements on everything, then players can't, just pick up. Can't just stay at low levels and then start invading people at low levels of maxed out upgraded gear, or at least maxed out decent upgraded gear. So here I am, just casually killing players. So the actual Royal Dirk itself appears not to be that bad. Now, as I said, there is something specific that I can't quite think of at the minute. There was just something about it that I didn't like, and so you'll eventually see me change back to the short sword. Yeah, I decided I needed more arrows. Because, Archer build we've got, even though I'm probably not using so many of them. And I'm just looking through. Now let me see, we still got quite a bit of... Oh, we've got nearly 20 minutes left. As I said, I played with the Hunter, I easily played with the Hunter the most on this beta. Game. I'll say my first round, the first beta day, I actually started with the Hunter, and I was playing with the Hunter for quite a while as well. But some people want, it was a live stream, and people wanted to see a couple of the other characters, so I switched to a Temple Knight for a bit. Yeah, I'm playing with the walk. I'm just looking at the walk and run animations. Because I just made a small mental note at the time that the walk animation was, shall we say, more feminine than it is in Dark Souls. So I notice small details like that when I'm playing. I'm interested to learn what the actual frame rate on this is. I'm probably betting it's 30 frames a second, but you know, I don't think it's likely that we'll get to see a 60 frames a second Souls game until probably Dark Souls 3 or whatever the equivalent is. And I'm sure by now you've all realised I've just made a huge fuck up because I've aggroed too many enemies. Oh, and this is, as I say, this is one of the things that really annoyed me, was that, as I say, your bow lock-on range is so short, but they're basically snipers with their bows. Actually, I wonder in hindsight whether I wonder if the type of bow will have an effect on your lock-on range. I mean, it does make logical sense that, say, a long bow would have a longer range than a short bow, for example. This might have been it actually. I mean, this might have been what convinced me that to change weapons, because as you've probably already, you've probably noticed, the Royal Dirk's moveset is more like vertical hits, whereas the short sword has broader, broader horizontal swings, which makes it easier for crowd control. So yeah, I think that was what eventually made me decide to change back to this. Oh, and rest at bonfire, light torch. I'm not actually going to light any torches, because the only really dark area was that room at the beginning. And as I say, the fact that you've got to deal with a bowman. You know, the fact that you've got to deal with bowmen as well as well, the room's quite full with enemies. So yeah, actually using a shield is obviously more useful. Let me see. Yeah, you'll probably see it in a sec when I get him in target, and I'll suddenly zoom out like that. Yep. Oh, and now we're going to get the first of FromSoft's message spam. Yeah, you'll see a lot of these. It's basically just them apologising for the beta not working properly. Surprisingly enough. It's, well, not so much the beta thingy, but as I say, the North American players couldn't even get in. Let me see. But yeah, that they did a lot of message spam. And annoyingly, as you can see, they put it like pretty much right in the middle of the fucking screen. I mean, personally, if I was doing it, I would moved it up a couple of inches to the, the very, very top. But I wouldn't say Dark Souls and FromSoft are particularly well known for putting bits of writing in convenient places, just like the revival and that revival message saying that I've got all my souls back. They plaster this huge dark box with writing right in the middle of the screen, and it blocks off most of what you're doing. Another I'm not going to say amusing point, and that's also something that annoyed me a bit with with those specific enemies. There's a lot of them, as you hit them with the last hit, they'll actually just, they'll go for trading hits on that killing blow, just to try and do some damage to you. But yeah, one of the slightly amusing but also annoying points is that they with this is that they will spam that message, that specific message, apologising for so-called mishandling the beta and that sort of thing. And then you'll get this. This will pop up only once, which is the actual dates for the next beta, which actually is in the morning from this recording, because I'm actually recording this Saturday night. And obviously it's the actual beta's in Sunday in about, let me see, about 8 hours or so. Which, it's an inconvenient time. I mean, 7 in the morning at the weekend is an inconvenient time for me, mostly due to my natural sleeping patterns, but that's thingy. It's, from what I understand, it's even more inconvenient for our American friends, who, yet again, is the sole reason that the actual beta is being I had another date in the first place. But by all accounts, my general guess is that probably falls into Japanese working hours or something like that, or at least they've chose them times because they're convenient for FromSoft, which I'm not going to go too far into that point of whether they deserve a convenient time for setting up the beta because of the fact that it was their screw up that stopped us from playing in the first place, or at least stopped some people from playing. Now, as I think I've said, I personally, it's a good thing for anyone who actually did manage to get in, because they get an extra free beta date, which is a little bit selfish. Here we are with the bow again. The bow apparently doesn't have a zoom on it, but because I tried it. I mean, you can probably, if you watch the magic slot of the inventory UI, it'll flash occasionally with my bow out, and that's me trying to zoom in. Not bad. I'm starting to get practice at this point, so yeah. Parrying, it's pretty good. I'm still not sure about how effective. The AI is funny, in my opinion, at the minute. Because as we saw earlier, one enemy somehow I broke the line of sight and they instantly forgot about me and then turned around and let me backstab them. But at other times, that, as you'll see in a sec, I will say with all this, look, I get my bow out, I draw it, and then the second I go into the first person aim mode, the Black Phantom instantly jumps down to attack me, getting close distance. As I say, it might have been a coincidence. It really might have. I would like to think, I personally would like to think that it's not a coincidence and they have actually improved the AI. Now, as you'll probably see in a sec, this is pretty obvious. There we are. I just tried to zoom in, and I just tried to shoot by letting go of the R1 button. Let's see. Oh, and this is the whip. I'm wondering if that'll actually be what the whip moveset will be. I mean, if if the attacks are chainable, like you just saw with them doing, you know, a couple of attacks, they might be a little bit more viable as a weapon this time. Because, well, I mean, if we're generally honest, the whips in Dark Souls weren't exactly good. Now, I'm not going to say that they weren't useful. I mean, personally, I think they were very, very useful with buffs and stuff. If you had a deck, let's say a Dex Imp build or a Dex Faith build, I thought whips were actually really good for casting buffs. You know, some of the more powerful buffs on them, like Crystal Magic Weapon and Dark Moon Blade, because you could, thanks to the property they had that. Oops, and I'm failing. But yeah, thanks to the their property that they couldn't be parried, it allowed you to basically spam. You know, you could cast the buff onto your weapon, and then you could just you know, spam your R1 button against another person in PvP, and they couldn't really do much about it. I mean, they could hide behind their shield, but then it'd get, depending on what shield they actually had. If it didn't block enough magic damage, it was relatively useless. I did it again. I let go of the aim button again, thinking it was the attack button, and that was all the time that the Phantom needed to jump down. Oh, as I say, Black Phantoms aren't actually that hard. Or at least these ones aren't. There are some Black Phantoms of them guys with giant sickles. They aren't so easy to kill. And they're actually quite nasty, especially where they put them. Because they're actually on a cliff face, where you can't really roll around that much. This is all the thingy equipment. And I can't really see much because you've got a giant information window up. But yeah, this is all the Temple Knight equipment. So, that's just playing with that a bit more. This is, by the way, this was my primary goal, because I'm pretty sure that you might have seen in all 3 videos. This is where I kept going, and the basic reason is that I've already gone the other way and killed the boss that side. This is apparently the my understanding is that you got this Black Phantom, and I think you might have the Chariot boss from here. But I might be mistaken on that. Failed parry. I'm going to... Certainly, I think you're going to see some mixed results on here. So yeah, I managed to get a good parry there. Now, I would like to say that I actually beat this guy, and I actually think that I actually probably could. But basically, I do a couple of messed up parries, and then I kind of get the fuck out. You know, I run away for a minute to work out what I'm actually going to do. Oh, if I actually do have time in the beta tonight or tomorrow morning, I might actually revisit my Hunter, but primarily it will of course be the Dual Swordsman and the Sorcerer that I didn't that I cut short But yeah, I think I could probably beat this guy. It's those attacks that really thingy, because a couple of bad dodges on that and I died. But I know more I would know more that what I was doing, and this appears to be pretty much the end of the my time with the Hunter. And yeah, as I say, I might revisit the Hunter again for if I have time, but primarily, yeah, I will be just mostly running the thingy. So yeah, the Dual Swordsman and the Sorcerer will be next. And hopefully I'll have some actual multiplayer and such to show you. So I guess I'm going to say goodbye with this for now, after I've messed around with the gestures a bit. Okay, goodbye I guess.